Hello and welcome back to Watch My Watch. It's your boy here with a bunch of G-Shock squares. So I am going to be selling this watch later on today, so this is why I'm making this video, in order to help you make a decision on which G-Shock squares to get with my trusty scientific wrist roll equipment, as you can see here. So I got two models. I got the GMW B5000 series and the GWM 5610 the updated models here. So these two are the resin GWM 5610s and the GMW metal models B5000. So the biggest difference in between these watches, obviously the material, right? So there's metal bezels here. The resin strap on this watch is a lot better and a lot softer than the resin strap on these watches. And these two have Bluetooth, where these two does not. They all have tough solar. They all have multi-band 6 syncing with the atomic clock. And I wasn't sure which one I would get. I firstly got this one, and then I got this one. And then I decided to get this one because it was on sale. And then, I started to make money with a side business. So I decided to get this one as like a little bit of a reward to myself, for, making a bunch of money on the side. So these are all the watches. I'm getting rid of this one. I will explain why later in the video. So other than the material that these are made of, the displays are also very different. These two models have the updated technology called STN LCD panels, whereas these ones have the older TN panels. I am not sure because I didn't see any information on this, but I think these two crystals have anti-reflective coating, whereas these two do not, because I'll show you later on in the footage that these two reflect a lot of light, which make them a lot harder to read, especially this one in situations where there's a lot of light. So without further ado, I'm going to do a massive wrist roll here with my scientific equipment, and hopefully, this goes okay. All right. So as you can see, the legibility of the display here, I don't know if you can see it, but the two watches that are on the left are a lot more legible than the ones on the right. And you can really see the anti-reflective coating that I was talking about, right? You can see here the two on the right, they're reflecting hella light from my ceiling to the point where it's kind of hard to read. But the two on the left here don't reflect as much light from the ceiling. So the common wisdom is that the positive displays are a lot easier to read than the negative ones, but really, if you compare the TN versus the STN panels here, I would say that this one actually reads better than this one, because at a certain angle, you start to see like the ghosting. I don't know if you can see it here, right? I could still read the time on this one on the left, but on the right, I'm starting to have trouble reading it, right? And really, this is the motion that we mostly do when we're trying to read the time, the wrist roll here. And here. You can really see the difference in the quality of the panel, but really, this being a positive display, it's a lot more legible, right, than this one, but not by that much because of the quality of this panel. But if I compare these two, for example, whoa, holy crap, okay, it's really night and day. Now I have a lot of lights here. As you can see here, the anti-reflective coating, I don't think there's any here. If I compare these two, for example, see the glare from the one on the right versus the non-glare from the one on the left, right? It's night and day. Obviously, you're gonna have to pay a lot more for these ones, but depends on your budget. But if you have to choose between these two, I'd highly recommend this one because it's a lot easier to read. The red stripes give this retro vibe to it, and it's just a lot easier to read. I find it in low light situations, I'm gonna kill the lights here, is even more evident, right? I have no problem reading this time here, but this begins to be a little bit difficult, right? I have to squint my eyes a little bit to read it. And you can see the reflection on this one is just really bad compared to this one, right? There is a lot of reflection on this one too, but not as glaring as this one. Again, if I compare these two, a lot more legible, the one on the left than on the right. We're gonna bring the lights back on. So which one do I think that you should get, right? So it really depends on your budget. I'd say if you have the budget, get one of these two. It really depends on what you like. This one looks a lot cooler, right? It's like bling bling. I think someone on YouTube called it the Bling Masters. Very bling, very nice, very cool. And you get the most legible display that you can get. Whereas this one, it looks cool as well. The resin band, it's a lot more comfortable than a metal bracelet. Like I can wear this, sometimes I work like 12 hours a day, and I can wear this all day, no problem. Whereas if I wear this towards the end of the day, I start to feel, my wrist, it starts to feel a little irritated and a little tired, right? So if you have the budget, I'd say go for one of these two. The better panel, the Bluetooth technology, and the better materials is definitely worth it. But if you're on a tighter budget, I'd say get this one because it's a lot easier to read than this one, especially in low light. Even in bright situations, you can see here the reflection really makes it annoying, at least for me, to read. But if you don't mind, you know, this being less legible, it does look very cool. It does have like a stealthy look to it. It looks very cool. And obviously, you can use the backlight. If you can't read it, you can just use the backlight, right? I'm using the backlight now. It doesn't really show because it's very bright, but you can use the backlight if you have trouble reading it. And you can also enable the auto backlight for when you do this, it'll automatically turn on. Let's say, let me turn it on here. All right. Let's see if it works. Oh yeah, one thing that I forgot to show is the backlight on these watches. On these models, the backlight is on the left corner of the watch, as you can see here, right? There's an LED bulb that's on the left corner of the watch. Whereas on these models, it's 4 LEDs on each corner of the watch, as you can see here. It's a lot more uniform. And the display kind of fades in and out, you know, whereas these ones, they just turn on and off. It's a little nice touch, you know, a little nicer premium touch compared to the cheaper models. All right, so after all that yapping, which G-Shock models do I think you should get, right? Is it worth it to get these metal ones over these ones, or is it not worth it? I'd say absolutely, right? You get a metal bezel, you get better quality material, better quality of the display, you get the Bluetooth, you get the better strap if you get the resin one, a lot softer, it feels a lot more comfortable than the standard strap that's from the G-Shock. And yeah, just all these extra little goodies, I think, make up for the price. But obviously, it is pretty expensive, right? A couple $100 for G-Shocks is a lot to ask. And if you don't want, you can obviously get these ones for a cheaper price. And if you like the metal look, they sell these conversion kits on AliExpress. You won't get the Bluetooth and the better display, but you can get the metal look on these GWM 5610s. So what do I think? I think if you have the budget for it, you can get one of these two. If you're a little tighter on budget and you don't want to spend that much money, I'd say go for this one. Because this one, unless you really like the stealth black, all blacked out look, it's just a little bit annoying and hard to read, as you can see here. The reflection, the low light performance, it's just a little bit frustrating for me. This is why I'm selling this watch today to a lucky person that will have the privilege of experiencing this watch. So without further ado, I hope this video helped you out in your decision making. I hope you liked my scientific equipment. And until next time, thank you. Goodbye.